Hey guys, Dadalorian here. Thanks so much for tuning in. We have some Star Wars news that I want to talk about with you guys. So without further ado, let's jump right in it. So the first thing that I really wanted to talk about today was I seen an article about John Boyega says he's open to returning to the Star Wars franchise under these conditions. Now, I've seen him in an interview briefly, like this was like, maybe a month or two back, where he was talking about this exact thing. But this is a new article that, let's see, this was May 31st, 2021. This is the People. So People magazine, and let's get into it. So John Boyega has previously been candid about his frustrations with his character Finn's evolution in the latest Star Wars trilogy. And so going on, John Boyega is not entirely closed off to returning to a galaxy far, far away. The Golden Globe winning actor previously expressed frustrations about his role as Finn in the Star Wars sequel trilogy films, and even said last year that he had moved on from the role. But in a resurfaced clip from a 2020 interview with Jacobs' Takes, Boyega 29 indicated, and I think that's what I was talking about, was I think I had seen that interview. He would be open to returning for more films under certain behind-the-scenes conditions. I'm open to the conversation as long as it is Kathleen Kennedy, J.J. Abrams, and maybe someone else on their team. Then it's a no-brainer, he said. Interesting. A rep for Boyega did not immediately respond to people's request for comment. I think that that's interesting too, and which kind of gets into my next topic in terms of Star Wars news. But I think that it may not even be that big of a thing, where it's like, hey, if you, and I know, being an actor, I mean, a lot of the stuff I do is voiceover and then commercial work, here in my market where I live. But I know, like, if you're comfortable with a specific director, you're comfortable with certain folks who work on a particular production, and you have rapport with them, well, it's like, hey, those are kind of like my day ones. I love their direction. I know their heart. I know how they get things done. I'm comfortable around them. Then you're going to be probably more apt to want to return to any type of project, especially when it's a Star Wars thing. Which I think is interesting that he specifically said, J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy, or anyone who's connected with them. So I think that's interesting. And the interview before that I seen, Boyega was saying he would be amped to come back only if, Daisy Ridley and, Isaac, the actor that plays Poe, if they were returning, then obviously he would return. So that would also be some of those conditions. So I think it's interesting, but at least he's still interested. He's still open-minded to the possibilities of coming back. Do I think we're going to see the sequel characters return at some point? Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm amped to see that. And I think the case with Finn, for me personally, I just think he was a character that had a little wasted potential. I think his character was so interesting of seeing this this stormtrooper kind of go rogue, you know what I mean? And that alone was just such an interesting concept that unfortunately we didn't get to see kind of played upon a little bit more. And that's something that I feel like just would have been so cool, you know what I mean? To see more of, maybe a little bit more of his backstory is what I'm saying. And then learning that, he is force sensitive. Yeah, I mean, maybe from day one, he was never set out to be a main character. But, again, you got to admit that the whole concept of that character is just so interesting. And I think, why not? You could have a movie where you have essentially two main characters, but at some point they split ways based on differences. I feel like that's something they could have done with Finn and Rey. You know what I mean? Where they're on like opposing sides, but they're both trying to do the right thing. You know what I mean? I thought that would have been interesting. But, who knows? I'm hoping for redemption for his character, come future films. So now getting into my next topic. All right, so we'll pause there for that. If you guys want to watch, that full interview with J.J. Abrams on Collider, you can watch it there. I've seen a lot of folks, talking about it, and he definitely said a lot without saying anything. Didn't really say much, and again, I think it's one of those things. I'm sure there's a lot like that's behind the scenes that it seems like he really it's like he has this weight of something like he really wants to say, but it's like the professionalism, his experience, he's kind of got his hands tied to where he can't really say what he wants to say. But yeah, I'm good at reading people. And I feel like yeah, there's definitely that weight there where it's like, this is what happened, this is what it is, and they just kind of had to roll with it. Now, me personally, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I enjoy the sequels for what they are. Force Awakens was my least favorite. The Last Jedi is my favorite, and that's strange because when it first came out, I hated it. I didn't like it until I watched it again and watched it another time. And I was like, you know what? Okay, this isn't bad. This is actually visually it is stunning, and the story wise, I actually did enjoy The Last Jedi. And then Rise of Skywalker would be right after that. But again, Force Awakens was like my least favorite. I feel like it was just a copy and paste of New Hope to me. But I just think it's interesting. Again, seeing John Boyega, seeing J.J. Abrams, very close in proximity in terms of timing, both coming out and, talking about Star Wars. And, years later from now, we might look back at this like, hey, sometimes in the industry, they do these things where, they do interviews, they have conversations, they put little things out there, and it's kind of like inching into, what could be coming in the future. You know what I mean? Who knows? Maybe they've already been in talks of like, hey, so what are we going to do with these characters, of the sequel trilogy? What happens next? What are they doing now? And where will they be, maybe 5-6 years from now? You know what I mean? So me personally, I would be excited to see them return. But I'm curious for you guys, what would be, what do you guys think you would want to see different? Like, what are some things that you're hoping for out of these characters when we think of Poe, when we think of Rey, and when we think of Finn? What are some things that you guys want to see, like, later in the future when they're a little more seasoned, a little more older, and they're bringing those characters back? Like, what do you guys hope for? So leave your thoughts in the comments and let me know. So aside from that, other Star Wars news that we have is more of Star Wars: The High Republic. So Star Wars: The High Republic, Trail of Shadows, headed to Marvel Comics. So let's read about it. A new Star Wars: The High Republic miniseries is headed to Marvel Star Wars Comics line. According to Star Wars: The High Republic show, following a strange and deadly mystery unfolding at the Republic Fair. Good thing Daniel Jose Older is on the case. Hey, my boy Daniel. I love his stuff. I just read one of his chapters in this guy, which is Empire Strikes Back from a certain point of view. And I have his book, Last Shot, that's on my reading list. I follow Daniel Jose Older on TikTok, Instagram, and all that stuff. And, we converse back every now and then. Very cool guy. So I've been following the Star Wars High Republic journey. So it's really cool to see some other names on there that I'm familiar with, which is really fun. In Star Wars: The High Republic, Trail of Shadows, with art from David Watcher, colors by Giatti Marchisio, and cover art from David Lopez. Older will introduce the mystery fiction genre into the new era of Star Wars storytelling. We're exploring a new corner of the High Republic with Trail of Shadows, in which we get to see another side of the Jedi and the Republic. Michael Siglane, Lucasfilm Publishing Creative, director tells StarWars.com. Following the shocking events of the Republic Fair, the Jedi call upon one of their own, Emmerich Kapfor, to investigate a strange mystery with the ties of the Jedi Order. At the same time, Chancellor Linus So calls upon Cian Holt, a high-end and demand private detective, to look into the same mystery, but will either solve the riddle before anyone else dies. There are so many weird and terrifying threads to unravel here. Older teases and David Watcher's excellent art fits the mood, urgency, and depth of this story perfectly. I mean, right off the bat, man, I got to tell you, it's always nice seeing a little more melanin in the Jedi Order. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna throw that out there, man. It's I don't say this to be cliche. I don't say this, to fit into any type of trend. I say it because it does matter. Representation does matter. I was always a kid that, it didn't matter. Like, for instance, Spider-Man or Superman, growing up, Batman, watching those characters, they didn't have to be black for me to relate with them. I could still relate with Spider-Man because, once he put on that mask, anybody could be under that mask. You know what I mean? And the problems and things that he dealt with as a teenager and going into adulthood, it's like, we can all relate with that. You know what I mean? But it's something about the hero's journey that's so true to everyone. But, at the same time, it's nice to look into this universe from a certain lens and say, wow, there's characters out there that look like me. You know what I mean? And other younger viewers who are being introduced to these books, who are being introduced to this new phase of Star Wars. I just think that that's really cool too, man, where it's like, wow, the heroes that you see that are on the main cover, there's so much in terms of representation that's out there for anyone, which I think is really cool, man. So I can't wait to read more about this. And yeah, Daniel, he's a hardworking guy, man. I think he just finished up a new book that he was writing, and he's got some good stuff. So if you're a Star Wars fan, definitely go and follow him. When it does come out, I'm definitely going to be reading it. Cannot wait. And again, this is going to be coming to the channel, you guys. Like, I do comic book reviews, I do book reviews. So once this series does come out, I definitely will be covering it, and we'll be conversing and talking about it. So I look forward to it. But that wraps up the show for today, you guys. A lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to think about, but that's the current Star Wars news that I have for you for our weekly review thus far. And any other reviews, or articles or things that you guys want me to talk about, certain topics in Star Wars, be sure to comment below. Leave a comment in the comment section and let me know, like, hey, you should talk about this. This would be interesting. I would love to have a conversation about this. Whatever, it doesn't matter. That's related to Star Wars. Comment below and let me know some things that you guys are interested in. And again, I just want to give a quick shout out to all my TikTok people who have come from that platform and over here. Number one, I welcome you to the page. I thank you so much for all the love and all the support. You guys are so awesome. There's so many nice people, and I know a lot of you guys are like, oh my God, we get to see his face. Here it is in all its glory. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you for the next video. Peace.